guys? Welcome to the first of hopefully many installments of the nutritional therapy series. We're going to be going over a lot of foundational things and foundational holistic health tips and tricks to help you kind of smooth out that the whole view of how your body works, and understanding that it's not just about losing weight, it's not just about macros, but it's how we digest those macros, it's how well we're hydrated, it's how well our body's blood sugar responds, how well our hormones respond. There's so much more that goes into health than really just following ketogenic macros. And my hope is that with this new series that I can educate you a little bit on what that looks like. So this first episode, we're going to address the first foundation, which is digestion. So the first 5 videos are going to be addressing what we call the 5 foundations. The 5 foundations are digestion, blood sugar regulation, fatty acids, mineral and vitamins, balance, and hydration. So all those things matter so much. Like, I want to use bigger words to try and express this. Those 5 foundations, if handled correctly, tend to create a strong foundation to heal most issues. That's what I'm trained to do as a nutritional therapist practitioner, is not to diagnose, not to give you medications, but to help look at symptoms that your body's showing us and figure out ways that we can create a plan for you that's bio-individualized and it's catered towards your specific needs from a nutritional standpoint. Now, with digestion, we have to understand a couple things. First thing is that digestion is a north to south process. Basically what that means is that it starts with your brain and it ends with obviously going to the bathroom. Understand that if something at the top is messed up, it's going to cascade into the rest. And so we have to have a well-balanced understanding of digestion. So to give you a couple of tips and tricks and explain why they're helpful without overloading you with information, let's start with a couple very simple things. The first one is don't focus on your phone or TV while you're eating. I think that's huge. A lot of us, we're rushed, we're in a hurry, we're running around like chickens with our heads cut off, all this crazy stuff, and we don't understand how well or how unwell that impacts our digestion. So understand that you have 2 kinds of states. You have sympathetic and parasympathetic, and we'll get more into that in another video. Parasympathetic is where your body's relaxed. It's not focused on running away from the tiger, right? It's just focused on functioning. Your body only produces gastric juices in a parasympathetic state. So understand that you have some in your stomach at all times, but it tends to create more when it knows food is incoming. When we're rushed, we're busy, we're staring at our phones, we're mindlessly eating, our body doesn't really trigger that parasympathetic state. And so what we find is there is a lack of gastric juices that are produced. Things like hydrochloric acid, things like that. And so often than not, the food gets into the stomach. It doesn't digest properly. We see some rancification of the fat, some fermentation of carbohydrates, and it pushes stomach acid up into the esophagus. This is known as acid reflux. So those times you take those antacids, generally the wrong way. You're treating a symptom, not really the root of the issue. Kind of slapping a Band-Aid on something that needs stitches. So my encouragement to you would be to focus on your food. Try cooking it. I know it takes an extra 5 minutes, but cook your food, smell it, enjoy it, be with it in the moment, enjoy every bite. It's worth it. Everything else in life will be there when you get done. And so, that is a huge first step. It can be so impactful in how we handle our day-to-day and how we digest our food. The second one is going to be don't drink a lot of liquids while you're eating. A lot of us love to drink something, especially carbonated things, when we eat. This again dilutes stomach acid. And we're going to get into why diluting stomach acid is bad other than acid reflux in just a moment. But understand that drinking a lot, whether carbonated or uncarbonated, can really get in the way of the concentration and the strength of the stomach acid in our stomachs. And so making sure that, we sip things, we don't want to choke and die, right? But make sure you chew your food thoroughly. I know you hear that a lot as a kid, but it's actually really impactful. You lubricate the food with your saliva. It helps it go down your throat. You shouldn't need a drink to wash down your food. We're just always in a rush, so we don't chew our food properly. So we have to use those liquids, and we tend to get really comfortable with that. Feel free to wash down the food when you're done eating with something, but really try to limit the amount of liquids that you eat or drink while you're eating. So those are the two simplest things you can do to help with digestion. You could try ACV and things like that, but those can actually cause irritation, especially if you already have some pre-existing gut irritation. But let's talk about why. Why does this matter? Now that you have these tips, here's how you can reinforce emphasizing those tips in your daily life. So not only does the stomach acid go up the throat, we have stomach acid reflux and things like that, but we have to look at what happens past that. Remember, north to south. So once it passes into the duodenum, which is the first section of the small intestine, understand that your body turns food into chyme, which is really just a sludge of decomposed food, broken down food. It usually enters the duodenum at a specific pH level, specific acidic level. And this triggers the pancreas, along with other glands and organs, to release enzymes, such as the gallbladder, to break down the fatty acids, the proteins, the carbohydrates, all the things that are in the food so that they can be properly absorbed. So what can happen is the body can pass the food through at an inappropriate stomach or acidic level. And so these enzymes aren't triggered properly. It's inefficient. So what happens is the food isn't properly broken down in the stomach. It's not getting properly broken down in the small intestine. But yet your body's still trying to absorb the food. So it tries to pass through the walls. And you have these things called these villi. They're like these wavy things in your intestinal wall. And the food passes through at inappropriate sizes and it rubs up against your intestinal lining. And it causes severe inflammation. And so now you have these inappropriate sized molecules that not only are they causing irritation to your system, but they're so big and they're so not broken down to where they're not able to be properly utilized in your body. This is known as leaky gut. You have this gut that's leaking these inappropriate sized food molecules. You have GI distress. You feel terrible. You feel tired because your body, although you're eating, your body's not really absorbing what you're eating. It's not utilizing it properly. It's very, very common. And one of the best ways to handle it from a natural perspective is to work on your digestion. It takes time though. It's not going to happen overnight. If you inflamed it over the course of a couple years, the inflammation is going to have to come down. And so leaky gut's still going to be an issue. And so I encourage you to not eat things that are hard to digest, like fibers, plant matter, right? If you're going to eat plants, make sure it comes with an acid, like lemon juice or something, and a fat, so that the enzymes just get triggered better inside of the small intestine and you see a better digestion. Because what we want is, it's not that we don't want to eat those things. It's that we want to eat things in a way that they're broken down in the appropriate sizes so that they go through the wall easily, so that the walls aren't irritated and they're actually getting utilized properly in your cells. So you're going to get that energy back. Over time, the inflammation in your gut's going to go down and you're going to overall feel way better. And this cascades into other things. If things aren't getting digested in the small intestine, it can go into the large and it can irritate your colon, and then you can develop autoimmune issues like celiacs and all these other things. So I want you to see that this is a cascade of events, and those simple 2 tricks that I gave you at the beginning can do amazing. You can also try apple cider vinegar. You can try an HCl supplement at first, phase that out. Things like that can be huge, but really focusing on eating foods properly prepared, focusing in on that meal, and limiting the amount of liquids you drink during the meal can be huge in allowing you to have a healthy digestive system. And when you get that right, this is the first step in creating foundational holistic health. All right, guys, until next time.